Hey, 80s TV listeners. As we hope you know, Susan and I are both in the middle of moving. So for the next few episodes, we're going to revisit some of our favorites. First up, Bruce Boxleitner, Part 1. Enjoy! See you on the other side.
Weirding Way Media.
80s TV ladies, so sexy and so pretty. 80s TV ladies, stepping out into the city. 80s TV ladies, often treated kind of working hard for the money in a man's world. 80s TV ladies.
Welcome to 80s TV Ladies, where we look back in order to leap forward. Here are your hosts, Susan+lambert+hatem and Sharon+johnson.
Hello, I'm Susan.
And I'm Sharon.
I'm so excited for today's episode, Sharon. You know, I first became aware of our next guest when I was like a young child watching late 70s television Western, very loosely based on the 1962 Cinerama film of the same name, a little show called How the West Was Won. He played a young Luke McCahan, and I thought he was cute. Cute little cowboy.
I never saw that miniseries.
Oh, it was good. Well, it was like a 2-hour pilot.
Oh, okay.
Then it was a miniseries, and then it was a show, and then it was canceled.
Yeah, I never saw any of it. I wasn't watching a lot of TV then. I was in school. You're talking about Bruce Boxleitner, of course, and I first remember him from Scarecrow and Mrs. King.
Really?
Yeah, I don't remember seeing anything that he was in before that. So
The Gambler?
Apparently didn't watch that. But what a great way to start learning, seeing.
I mean,
Bruce
Scarecrow and Mrs.
Boxleitner.
King is a pretty good start.
Yeah.
You and Melissa got to meet him in person, told him that we'd love to get him on the show, and he said yes. And he's been working and traveling, but we were finally able to get Bruce Boxleitner on the line. Bruce Boxleitner is a prolific actor, most known for his hit television shows, How the West Was Won, Scarecrow and Mrs. King, Babylon 5, and the Gambler TV movies.
He was also the title star of Disney's 80s sci-fi movie Tron, which has spawned a franchise of movies, TV, animation, and a Disney park ride.
A Disney park ride. That's crazy.
A great Disney park ride, if I must say so.
I've not ridden on it yet because it's not out here in California. All right. Mr. Boxleitner has been in over 142 movies and shows, more recently playing presidents in Supergirl and The Orville, and voicing John Sheridan in the animated film Babylon 5, The Road Home, John Sheridan being the role he played in Babylon 5 TV show.
He just guest starred on Blue Ridge, the series, and what a treat it is to have him on the show with us. Welcome to 80s TV Ladies, Mr. Bruce Boxleitner.
Thank you, Sharon. Thank you, Susan.
We are so thrilled to have you.
Thank you. We finally made it.
Yay!
We've been talking about this for
I know.
over a day.
I so appreciate you taking the time. So, Bruce, you were on a hit show.
Yeah.
Playing Lee Stetson on Scarecrow and Mrs. King, the 80s hit show. What are some of your favorite memories or moments at the time when you were making it that you remember like, oh, this is great, compared to now looking back at it?
Oh, my gosh. And how many years has that been now?
41.
So 1983,
Yes.
right? Through 87. I personally think had Katie not gotten ill, I think we would have still had at least a few more seasons in there. They tended to stay with you. And I think we never left the top 25 or 30, somewhere in between there. Yeah. That was very good for network television back in those days, believe me. But some of my favorite memories is getting the job. That I haven't talked about too much. I had done this show called Bring 'Em Back Alive the year before.
Frank Buck.
Yeah, Frank Buck. And we were trying to ride on the coattails. The television wanted to ride on the coattails of Raiders of the Lost Ark fame, those type of shows. Because then it used to be the movies, the big movies, and then television would try to do some kind of TV version of that. And always with whatever the trend was, whether it was James Bond, you had The Man from U.N.C.L.E., and you had, what was the great one with Diana Rigg, a British one, The Avengers. Anyway, so I struggled mightily. I had a wonderful cast. And when Cindy and I did more Tron together, the original Tron was only a year earlier, they were looking for an actress that could play that kind of 1930s kind of gal could fit that kind of look, the dresses, the wardrobe, the makeup, all of that sort of thing. And I thought of Cindy. And so we had Cindy aboard. We got her and Clyde Kazatsu, Ron, who played HH, His Highness.
Yes. He was great.
It was Superfly,
Yeah.
Yes.
That show was so impressive.
It was and we never went on location. We only went out to a place called Indian Dunes out here, which was near where Magic Mountain theme park is now. But that's where movies shot for jungle sequences and things like that. And then we also had the back lot of Columbia there. We had a pond. We had New York Street. We turned it into old Singapore. And we had the Raffles Hotel and all those things. So anyway, long story short, we struggled mightily for the ratings. And I only came in number 2 every Tuesday night. I was up against another 80s great, early 80s and late 70s, which was the 10th season of Happy Days.
Ooh,
Came in
that would be
number
hard
2.
to beat.
It was very hard to beat. That was a family show that had been well entrenched in the American psyche, and viewing habits. So anyway, I was on the phone to Bud Grant, the head of CBS, at least once a week, going, I know we can get better ratings. I know, just give us one more. Give us one. He stuck it out as long as he could. And eventually I just realized we went off in like 18 episodes or something like that. And that was a blow to me. That was my first stepping out on my own as a lead of a TV series. But Bud did say this. He said, since we did this on a handshake, and that's how we did the contract back then, how we did the deal in an office with a handshake. Do people do that anymore? I would always be careful if I have my hand after I, shook it. Anyway, Bud said, we'll find you something better. And I went, well, that's wonderful. Thank you so much. And he said, no, we'll find something that works. Don't worry about it. So I don't know the real time frame here, but I did get 2 scripts. One was called The Yellow Rose, and the other one was this quirky title called Scarecrow and Mrs. King, The First Time. And I found out that former Charlie's Angel, Katie Jackson, was going to be starring in it. And the role was for her leading man. And this other one was a contemporary, sort of what Yellowstone has turned into. Not as violent, but, and it had Sybil Shepherd as the lead, Sam Elliott, blah, blah, blah. Big ensemble piece. And of course, I was living on a horse ranch at the time. I was very into that sort of thing, that lifestyle. And I thought, boy, this is wonderful. But then I kept looking at this pink script, pink pages and blue. And I kept going, got to do something here to change it up. I'd already been on How the West Was Won for 3-4 years. And so I looked at this script and I started laughing from the first moment I started reading. And it just captured me. And this is the magic that Brad and Eugenie brought to it. The writing style was very quirky. I thought, just funny. And it was adventure to it, mystery, and this wonderful relationship between a guy that wanted nothing to do with this woman. He had used her in this caper and then never thought he'd ever see her again. And there she was. Anyway, and the relationship, it was a 30s screwball comedy with some James Bond and some whatever in there, and a great ensemble.
Yes.
I thought, Martha, Mel Stewart was the best. I mean, I miss him so much. I wish he could be at these conventions. He would be loving every minute of this, I'm going to tell you. But he made me laugh more than anybody I've ever worked with since. And that was a daily basis. And of course, Beverly Garland.
Amazing.
Oh my God. She was the scream queen of the 50s, man. I mean, she did everything. And she had this great settling effect on the cast. So when everybody got a little hypertension, go, all right, calm down, everybody. And everybody Mom just talked, right? Mom just chewed us all up. Anyway, I met with Kate, and I forget the guy's name that directed the pilot, but he was renowned for selling a lot of pilots. So we were in an A team here. She and I we worked on these scenes together, and we were to go before all the network heads, all the chiefs, all the big mucky mucks.
And was this for a
And,
screen test? Did you
No,
screen-
this was a live performance.
Nice.
Yes. Now you have to understand our audience. We're television executives who have no imagination, no sense of humor. And we brought in 3 scenes. And I just immediately knew with Kate that this was something else. Because Kate had that quality of the great leading ladies of those golden age of Hollywood movies, Hepburn and all of them that were just boom, boom, boom. She could just motor off. Called her motor mouths. Anyway,
Did you call Martha Smith Chatty
well,
Catty?
that's true too. Yes, so she was chatty, and she was catty. Okay, I mean,
Okay.
wasn't Francine always
Yes.
had an attitude? I mean, did she not? Anyway, so we did those 3 scenes, and we had these hardened television executives laughing openly,
Wow.
begrudgingly too. I want to say, Sharon, they don't want to know. We're very serious people. We're professionals here. You can't make us cry. You can't make us laugh. And we did it all.
That's
And
amazing.
we had such a joyous time. I was so high off the experience. They said, very nice to see you. Thank you so much, blah, blah, blah. But then they don't want to give away and say, you're the guy.
Right.
You got to go through all the razzmatazz. But this was at Television City, CBS down in Beverly. And I literally walked out the wrong door onto the roof of the building. I was in a daze. It was an overwhelming experience because I was like, I failed. And then I come in and we get this big win with the same network that canceled me. And I literally walked out on this roof and there's Beverly Boulevard and there's Fairfax Avenue. And I'm going, what the? And the guy down in the guard shack there goes, wait, what are you doing up there? I said, I don't know. It was right out of a Lee Stetson adventure right there. So they had to come in because the doors didn't open from the outside. It was one of those, the top of a building. So anyway, I got back home and we waited, and then the word came. The pilot was a go. They greenlit it, and Kate and I just clicked right from there on. I think it shows right in the pilot. That's some of my favorite stuff. The stuff that Brad and Eugenie, they wrote such great humor. It was quirky. I don't think this was 1980s television yet. We still had Happy Days was not quirky.
Right.
It was straight on sitcom. But ours had, and then we shot on location in the pilot. And so some of my fondest memories, to go back to your earliest question, was from that very first time, because it was so new. We would later I think we even got better as an ensemble. That's natural. We were given time to really bond and really find each other and find each other's rhythms. I always knew, and I had never had this experience before. My theater experience was the only thing I had that was slightly close to it. Kate was able to go off script. And oftentimes, she far surpassed the material, okay? Which was wonderful. But then I found out I could go with her. She'd start the lead, and off I'd go with her. And then pretty soon we're doing stuff that is not on the written page. Not a lot. I don't want to emphasize that it was a lot. But it was just enough to make those two, I think what you all loved about those characters is those little in-between moments.
Mm-hmm.
I call them. The reach over to touch and then reluctant. This was also the time of the couples. We already had Heart to Heart. And then Remington Steele was on, I think, already. I think it was either a season before us. I'm not sure. And then we had My Worst Day.
Uh-oh.
Is when Moonlighting premiered. And, big difference. But Kate saw that. Kate saw Cheryl, or what's her name? Sybil, and this new guy, Bruce Willis. And she wanted our show to be that way. I did too. Yeah, we loved that. But it was a 9 or 10 o'clock hour. We were an 8 o'clock hour.
Mm-hmm. Well, to
We
be
didn't,
fair, I think Remington Steele had the same problem. So
Yes, they did. Yes, they did. No, I think we all saw this, and that was the brilliance of their writer, Glenn Karen. But our show had a very solid audience. I'm sure. I can't tell you how many times people have come up to me and gone, it was like one of those shows because it was the 8 o'clock hour. Younger people sat with my mom and dad. It was family television at its best, I think. And we provided a delightful, funny hour, and we brought some adventure, and we wrapped it up at the end, But we would have these conferences about how long are we going to sustain this sexual tension?
Mm-hmm.
And the fans were split, and they were still going. We didn't have, email or X or anything like that.
Now, are you happy about that or sad about that?
I'm actually happy about that. I don't know how they do it now.
Yeah.
And they liked the opening numbers, the Nielsen ratings. What leads you in is important. And then after your show, your numbers to lead into the next one, right?
Yes.
Or do people just all of a sudden turn the channel?
Right.
And that's what you have sleepless nights about. But I think what we worried about the most is that we wanted the fans to continue to love Lee and Amanda. And we would sit there. I got vividly in my mind's eye, Kate and I sitting in our chairs going, no, I don't think they should. I think we need to sustain this long. No, they want us to kiss. And I was always the one going, no, I think we need to sustain it.
I'm with
And
you.
then-
I'm with you on that, Bruce. I was,
It was a tough one,
Yeah.
Sharon.
But I'm with the
did I
kissing
just-
part, I think.
Hold on, I lost my ears. Hold on. This is so Scarecrow, isn't it? I think you should show me fuddling around with technology. I think it's anyway.
It is
Keep
very
it my right
Scarecrow,
one.
though. I do think.
It's very Scarecrow. Imagine, the spinoff we could have done years later was now we do have cell phones and internet and everything. And how would they have adapted
Yeah.
to this world when the boys are growing up and going, oh my God, Dad.
Let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. We're about to move to a new house, and we've decided to gift ourselves in this move all new sheets and towels. But the sheets, I'm going to use our 21% off discount at Cozy Earth to get some amazing soft bamboo sheets for our new house. You can go to 80s TV Ladies My Deals link in the show notes to see all our 80s TV Ladies deals. Use promo code 80s TV Ladies and get 21% off Cozy Earth. We're back. Let's jump right in.
The good memories of doing
Yes.
it. We were
Yes.
in Washington, D.C. We were driving around. I had a 63 Porsche Speedster that died every other take
Oh no.
in the middle of Washington, D.C. traffic.
Oh no.
That's why I'll reveal to you, that's why when we got a new stunt team in after the second I think it was the second season, I still had that. When did I kill that
You killed the
I
car.
drove them over a cliff.
Yeah.
A cliff.
You killed the car, I believe, in the second season.
Yes. Just like the old cowboy movies, the star cowboy has to have a fantastic horse and
Yes.
it has a name, So in this, Gary Davis, my stunt double, who auditioned for me right in front of everybody, he took a motorcycle at top speed and laid it down across the Columbia Studios parking lot and got up and was okay. He did all my motorcycle driving, all that stuff we had to do like over in Europe and stuff. I mean, he could literally go on camera and did a number of times as me. And y'all probably didn't realize it, that it was him doing it. They didn't want to have me, go and
No.
get Kate killed.
Mhm.
So anyway, he said, you need a car. This was the 80s.
Cars were
Ladies.
very important.
80s ladies was car chases were very big. Come
Yeah.
on. Every show had it. We had the 18. We had all these things. Magnum had a Ferrari, all those guys. So Gary Davis says, we got the perfect thing. It's all engine and fiberglass and it'll go. And it's just that the fact was that I'm 6'2.5", trying to fit that on like a pair of pants. You think that Porsche Speedster was something. God, I'd have to drive up and jump out, right? It's like I'm coming out of a pair of fiberglass pants of some sort, trying to get one leg out of the. I had to master that. I actually rehearsed that more than I did some scenes sometimes. So. But anyway, I got that Corvette,
Yes.
84 Corvette.
My
82?
brother had one of those.
Mm-hmm.
My brother had an 84
Yes.
Corvette.
And it, like you said, it was all engine. And I mean, we always had, a lot of retired police as our security when we did stuff out on the streets, like chase scenes and stuff like that. And I delighted in doing 80 down a 30-mile-an-hour thing with Kate going, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down. And I just put I loved it because I went right by the cops going,
I'm stunned how many stunts they let you guys do.
Yeah.
We did it a lot. I did always the medium and the close-ups of all my fight scenes. That means I had to hit the ground too. That's why I'm a physical wreck today in my 70s. I'm paying for all that youthful vigor.
Like James Garner did.
Yes, James Garner, all those guys. Also, I had two great guys, Gary Davis and a guy named Tom Morga. And Tom and I had this thing, we called it the old switcheroo. So Lee jumps down on a roof, and then he jumps down behind a pile of packing crates. And then I come around the other side. Now, it has to be timed just perfect so that your mind links. He goes falling down, boom, boom, boom. Beat, beat, beat. I would come around, right? You have to have enough time. You can't just instantly come jumping out. And we would do that with the high walls that they didn't let me go over. All the little tricks of the trade, But the fight scenes, which I had every week, we had to choreograph. They were always done at the end of the day, unless Katie had to be right in the middle of it. She usually came in with the frying pan and hit the bad guy in the head, just as I've just had the crap kicked out of me for, a 15-minute fight. But we also had a gag reel of Scarecrow losing his gun. I was a highly trained operative in the United States government, right? I was in the agency. I was trained. I was a marksman. I could hit anything. I could shoot. I could do everything. But somehow I would have to lose the gun in the last thing so we could subdue the bad guys or bad guy, girl, whatever.
Without shooting them.
Without shooting them, yes. And Kate had to use her housewifely common sense.
That's right.
I'll just pull this and the barrels will come down on top. So,
But it was so
great.
very clever. It was
Yes,
well choreographed.
We
and
did.
Lovely, yeah.
And to think we made a movie every 7 days.
Right.
8 days, actually. I'm going to reveal something on Warner Brothers books. Scarecrow came in at a 7-day shoot. Once in 4 years. There, a little scoop you never heard.
Very scoopy. We won't
And
tell
I
them.
don't work there anymore, so nobody I know works there anymore.
You mentioned a few minutes ago briefly about shooting in Europe that one season.
Yes.
What was that like for you?
Oh, Sharon, that's one of the great adventures of my life. 1984, the Olympics came to Los Angeles. They're about to come again. Since we shot in the LA area, in specifically the Valley, for the most part, we would go to Europe.
Mm-hmm.
It was amazing because that was my first time ever going to Europe. We went specifically to Munich, Germany. I think we shot 5 episodes over there in the time.
Yeah.
We also had a writer's strike stop us. So we were stuck in Munich, Germany, because we were supposed to move on to Salzburg, Austria. Munich was so much fun. And there we were. And when you let the children, we have nothing to do but play. Yes, I know Munich very well.
So apparently does Martha.
Yes, Martha does. She does. Does she talk? Yes, we had a few parties. I never know who Martha was going to bring next. But anyway, that's another story. It was fun. We were young. We were in our 30s. And
You were on a hit show.
We were on a hit show.
Yeah.
We were in Europe with per diem money to spend because they had to keep us there. Because the strike, I think it went 2 weeks or something. Oh my God, we needed to go back to work. We were going to be in real bad shape otherwise. I was out all night. We were out all night. Several places. We went to these nightclubs, and Martha and I, we went. Who else was with us? I think the guest stars. We were in a place in Munich. that wasn't, we walked into a bad place. Not a bad place, but the punk rock scene in there was very scary back in those days. Very scary. And Martha and I had to grab Martha's hand and get her out of there. And we ran for a cab. I remember that. It was right out of Scarecrow, I swear to God.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, we had to. There were some nasty characters in there. I mean, it was crazy. And of course, they thought Martha was great, and but they all wanted to have Martha there. And anyway, she was loving it until she wasn't, and we got out of there.
You had to rescue her like Scarecrow.
I did. I think I'll admit something. I had to hit a guy to get him off of her.
Oh, wow.
I did. That was like Scarecrow.
Wow.
And we ran like hell and got out of there. And there were people that helped us get out of there. Yeah.
Wow.
She doesn't remember that. We were laughing so hard too. How we had walked into this and got ourselves in there. Everybody wanted to dance though. And it was like banging, where you're banging into each other and that kind of thing. Oh my God, it wasn't my style.
Is that called slam dancing or something?
Slam dancing, mosh pit.
Wasn't it?
Mosh
Pit kind of stuff. And it was just deafening noise. And it was, but she wanted to go. So, but I know we had some other people there, but we all scattered. I think Martha went to London or something like that. She was dating a guy, I think. She had boyfriends all over.
She had quite a wild time. She told us a little bit about it.
She had a wonderful time. She had a wonderful time.
And you worked with Gene Stapleton.
And Gene Stapleton, there we were in the Alps. Gosh, I wish she could have stayed for more episodes. I think she would have been, I don't know what her deal was professionally with it. She had reoccurring, but I think every time she was on, it was such a fun episode. Remember the one where we turned the house into a KGB
I
headquarters?
love that. You guys were...
Gotti was away.
Yes. That was a very quintessential Scarecrow episode, and she was fantastic because she got to play the Russian agent, and it was wonderful. You guys had
she used going to Austria as well. I'm gonna, what? How many days do I have off? But we don't need to see. We don't need you for 4 days, and so we were tourists. I mean, we were in the car, driving and going all over that part of Europe. While we had the time off. On the weekends, we always hit the road. Of course, when you're on location, you work 6 days a week. So Sunday we raised hell. It was great.
You were working with Juanita Bartlett by this point.
Loved Juanita.
Can you tell us more about working with her? I'm a huge fan of hers.
As much as I loved Brad and Eugenie, they left the show very early on. Okay, and I want to always say they laughed all the way to the bank afterwards. So I didn't get myself into whatever was going on politically within the studio and everything. And anyway, they departed, and we had this wonderful woman and her great writing staff. Steve Hatman, greatest story guy. They all came from the Rockford Files,
Yes.
And she used to tell me, she used to say to me, "You're very much like Jim Garner." I went, "Oh, really?" Yeah. She says, "Yeah, I don't ever have to go to long dialogue meetings. Whatever you handed me, it's always been my thing." And it's sort of, she said that Jim Garner told her this. He said, "My job is to do the dialogue that you sat up all night doing. It started with a little germ of an idea, and then you went on and created this. It's my job to do every word, not just suddenly start talking off script," which I'll refer to what I earlier said. I was very much of that school. Haiti, not so much. I mean, not that and this is not a bad thing. I'm just saying that she had that great improvisational skill to be able to, in character, leap right off the written word. And I'd have to leap with her because otherwise it wouldn't be any sense. But I always try to get us right back to. But Jim Garner said, "That's my job. And if I can't do it, if I just can't make it real, then I'm going to ask, how can we make this real for me? How does it work coming out of my mouth?" I mean, those characters become you, ladies. You become the character becomes you. This is my personal view, and I've said it before. I think the European episodes were probably some of the best because it just fit. In Europe, it just fit. Trying to get her, how do we logically get her over to Europe to have all these misadventures? I mean, there we were, Buckingham Palace in England and London. We were in the real new Scotland Yard building.
Wow.
We used that when I had to do this interrogation of the mongoose.
Yes.
Remember him?
Mhm.
He was wonderful. He was an expat American actor over there. The Legend of Best+. That's probably one of my favorite episodes.
That's a great episode.
I had to try to put Scarecrow in all my magnificent suits. Jimmy Lapidus, I want to give him credit too. I did not like my wardrobe in the first seasons. End of second season, we got a brand new guy because they were having to do hers, Martha's,
Yeah.
and it just got overwhelming. And I forget his name. Wonderful older gentleman. I had been in the studio since,
Yeah.
probably World War II. I had these clunky sweaters and I looked too Ivy League-ish. If you want to make that guy who was running around Europe realistic, he was going to be in nice European suits. I had every suit when we went to Europe. The first 3 days I was there, I was in Savile Row in London. I was getting outfitted for everything with suits made for me. Now, Lee Stetson would have had that.
Yeah, for sure.
He was always a faker, you know that. He always tried to come off so continental, and he was not. He was an army brat, raised in the Midwest on a base. Anyway, you know that stuff, that story. But that's when my wardrobe, they went, no, that's
it.
One of these weird shorts with, khaki pants and an Ivy League sweater. And I looked like, and with the way I looked then, I looked like I was a college boy. I mean,
Yeah, you had to have the James Bond suits, right? To play the spy.
And I did, and the shoes. And then when we got to Austria, same thing. It was, I was at the tailor. Everything was made for me. And so if you notice, I'm in the better suits in the whole thing. Very continental looking. And that's the way Lee would have dressed over there. But yeah, those were my favorite episodes because of the adventure of going over there. My wife and son, oldest boy, was now 44 years old. That shows you how long ago that was. Gary Davis had a daughter, Jennifer. And I had my son, Sam, who was only, I think, he wasn't even 5 or 6 years old. I'm not sure at the time. Anyway, Kitty and he came over to visit as we got started. And then they came to Munich and joined us. And my mother-in-law came with them to help. And that was wonderful.
Yeah.
But great little incident when they were coming in. Gary and I and little Jennifer was with him, came to the airport in Munich. And we were going to pick my family up. And this time in Germany, there were a lot of extremist groups blowing up things in reality. Our show was so timely because they had the Red Brigade was running around Europe, blowing up people and robbing banks and carrying on. And they looked a lot like Martha Smith. Anyway, it was. And these two little ones, Jennifer had been with her daddy now for a few weeks. And, there were no little kids and he had a babysitter with her. And so they looked at each other and here comes my wife and Sam, little Sammy. And he's walking, holding her hand. And they just stared across this big space. There's all these guys with machine guns standing around. The Polizei over there. They were serious dudes, man. They had automatic weapons. And in between that, these two little ones run to each other, never ever having met, and grab a hold of each other and are hugging. It was the whole airport, and everybody stopped going, oh, it was like crazy. We had peace in Germany right at that moment. So it was fun. I don't know why I'd tell that story.
That's a lovely memory. Oh my gosh.
They were with me. Yeah. They were with me throughout the rest of the trip, So it became such a family affair, So Europe was cool. And then we came back and it was kind of back to Burbank again.
Can I ask about one other episode in particular?
Yes, please.
One of my favorite episodes from season 2 is Burnout. I think you do a fabulous job, as does Miss Jackson. And it's sort of
Yes.
a little, spy who comes in from the cold. Like it's just got all the best elements of Scarecrow and Mrs. King. And it also
Was
sort
that
of
still under Juanita's time?
I think it was.
George
She was.
Geiger?
I think it was because it was season 2, and I think she was on
Yeah.
1.
Oh, yes,
and,
they did.
and 2.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
but I'd love to ask you about a moment in the bar. I don't know if you remember it,
Please.
where you
Is it?
the
I
Amanda.
exploded.
You're tapping up Amanda's face. You're trying to get her to leave, and you actually slap her. Do you remember this?
Yeah. Shoot, I wish we had a film to go to. Right?
I can go find it real quick, and I can show you because I would love
Please
to
do.
get.
Please
Okay,
do.
I'll go do that. You guys keep talking.
I did. Okay. Sharon, you did, but you like the European episodes.
Oh, the European, like you, I thought the European episodes were really terrific. And it clearly you were shooting in Europe and at the time.
Yes. And it lent itself to, it was 1984.
Mhm.
Cold War was still going. We were only miles, and sometimes we were only miles away from the Iron Curtain.
Right.
I mean, seriously. And we had all these wonderful German and English. I realized there were a lot of actors living in Europe doing, European films and television. It just expanded my mind so much. Again, I felt I was a better Lee Stetson by the time I got home. I actually was living some of the stuff that Lee would refer to. No, I didn't know how to speak Urdu, but I certainly could fake an Austrian or German accent and those type of things because I was around it all the time. And you got to understand that show did not play over there. So the crew had no idea. It hadn't been on European television yet. It still happened that way.
Yeah, it wasn't like it is now where, things
Where it's
show up.
immediate.
Yeah, it's immediate. It takes a while for things to make their
we
way
have
around the world.
Yeah, we have satellite too. We're getting it immediately. I think we did a doggone good job. I certainly knew how to come up in a kitchen window and just as Beverly was about to turn around and be down in the flower bed. Right from the get-go, that made me laugh. That was one of the first things that made me laugh out loud when I read the pilot script, was just imagining that scene.
Had you done a lot of comedy before you did Scarecrow?
No. I did all those cop shows. I was a punk in all those cop shows, Beretta. I did 2 Hawaii Five-O's. I did those kind of shows, the third guy and something,
Mm-hmm.
And so no, in television, I never got to do comedy. Now on Broadway, I did. And I did a show for a couple of years in Chicago. It was in Washington, D.C., and also very briefly in Broadway in New York, and then back to Chicago, and then a one-way ticket to Los Angeles, where I said, I'm going to try L.A.
And now, did you have to decide, like New York, LA? Did you have that actor moment?
I was in New York. I was there for about a year. My youngest son, Michael, lives there. And my wife and I just went to, a couple months back, went to New York just for the weekend to see him in his off-Broadway debut.
What show? What show? Is it still running?
Well, it's no.
Oh,
it
yeah,
was.
it was just
It's one of these small.
Yeah.
They call them black box theaters. They're about 9,900 seat at that.
I know it well. I've been there.
Yes. Okay. It was just he and a wonderful young actress. It was called Constellations. I think you could probably find it. But he was wonderful. I've got another actor I'm very proud of. But he loves New York. And he was older. He's older. He's 28. And
Okay.
I mean, I was 20. I turned 21 in New York City. So
Our oldest Owen is in New York, and they're having a great time.
likes it.
Loves it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
this is, I get it. That was, leaving home. Chicago broke me in, and then New York, I thought, oh my God, this is like Chicago on steroids. This was, made it even more gigantic. But it was a wonderful place, and you got to be young there. I'm sorry.
No, you do.
I couldn't do it now. Just too many people. That's just me. Too many people on.
All right, I found the scene.
It's a hustle book. Yes, show me.
Okay, all right. Let me share my screen and see if I can pull this off.
We have faith, Susan.
I know you.
You can
I know
do
you
it.
do. I know.
Okay, here we
All
go.
right, here we go.
Oh my God.
Okay, let me see. Make sure the sound's up. Oh yes, it's a cliffhanger. clearly, we've got quite a lot more to talk about with Bruce Boxleitner, so we're going to leave you here for this episode and pick up next time with part 2, where we will show Mr. Boxleitner the scene I'm talking about. If you're so inclined, this also gives you time to seek out the scene for yourself. The episode is from Season 2, Episode 21, entitled Burnout, written by Lisa Seidman, directed by Sigmund Neufeld Jr., takes place about 18 minutes into the episode, so don't miss part 2 with Bruce Boxleitner, where we will talk about that scene with the Scarecrow himself, and then so much more. Join us.
For today's audiography, find out more about Bruce Boxleitner at facebook.com/BoxleitnerBruce and Instagram also at BoxleitnerBruce.
And he's on Cameo, so cameo.com/BoxleitnerBruce.
Okay, I guess that's it for this episode. So as always, we hope 80s TV Ladies brings you joy and laughter and lots of fabulous new and old shows to watch, all of which will lead us forward toward being amazing ladies of the 21st century.